Today I'm going to show you how to draw this cute little dragon with coloring pencils. This is an easy beginner drawing lesson for kids of all ages, so let's draw. Hi everyone, welcome to Rain Francis Art for Kids. My name is Rain. In this series, Monsters and Legends, that's what we're going to draw. Lots of monsters and lots of legends, so let's draw. This is what you'll need for today's drawing. You're going to need a piece of paper. I have my dollar store drawing pad here. It's 9 inches by 12 inches wide. You're going to need a pencil and an eraser. And if you have an old paintbrush that you've never used for painting, it works really well for brushing off your page. I love to use this thing. Now we are going to need some color. We're going to need yellow. I have a light green and I have a dark green. If you only have one green color, that's perfectly fine. Just use the one green color that you have. I also have a black fine-tipped marker here that I use for outlining. If you don't have one, you could use a black coloring pencil. Okay, let's clear off our workspace here and draw our dragon. This is going to be a lot of fun. I have never drawn a cute little dragon before. I drew a realistic looking one for my other channel, Rain Francis Art, but this is the first time I've ever drawn a dragon here, so I'm going to try my best. So let's start with the dragon's head. It's going to be kind of a round shape, like that, and some little cheeks coming out. And the chin comes down like that. Mine's a little crooked, but that's okay. Now let's draw the dragon's body. Watch how I draw it. Kind of looks almost like a bowling pin. There we go. So that's the basic shape of our dragon. Now we can add some of the details. For example, some horns on his head. Just like that. Can you see okay? I'll move that down a little bit. And maybe some scales on his head too. And we'll draw some eyes. 2 big oval eyes like this. And some ovals at the bottom for the pupils like that. And for his nose, we're going to draw kind of a little squiggle. Like this. And he's going to have 2 little nostrils coming out either side there. And we'll color all that in later. Let's give him a smile right away so we know where it is, okay? So that's his head. Now, on either side of his neck, he's got his wings coming out. So watch, we're going to do a long line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then moving it down here like that. Now I did 6 points, but you can do as many as you want. Just make sure they're even on both sides if you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we bring it down to his body here. This wing's a little bigger than this one, but that's okay. We're just having fun here. So now I'm going to draw his legs. Now his legs come out like this, kind of round here, and he's got a big foot there, just like that. My camera's shaking a bit because my desk is up against the bed and my big Rottweiler dog Raven just moved and jumped around and she shook the whole thing. So now we'll draw his other knee and his other foot here. Just like that. Okay. Now let's draw some hands. Now just above the wing here, we're just going to draw his little hands with 3 little fingers, one on one side. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now what we want to do with his body is we're going to draw a line down like this, and it's going to not go through his hands, on the other side of his hand, just all the way down, because he's got scales on his belly. So we'll do the same thing on this side. Not through his hands though, around his hands, okay? And we'll put in some detail later. Now the last thing we're going to draw is his tail. His tail comes out from behind him, say on this side. We'll draw his tail like this. And on the top, watch what I'm doing. I'm kind of doing what looks like maybe the flame of a match. See? Kind of that shape there. Or you could just do a triangle. And then we'll draw a little triangle there. And he's got some scales on his tail also. They're just little triangles going across his tail. So that's our dragon, and what we can do is we'll color him in, and then we'll do some details and shading. So why don't we start with yellow? Now his scales are going to be yellow, so let's start with the top of his head, and we'll color that in yellow. And we're going to color it in a second time, and that means you're putting in a second layer of color. We're adding a second layer of yellow. Because with coloring pencils, you don't have to press down hard. You just add layers. And I'm just going to do a third layer to make sure I got everything. There we go. Now the next little detail we can do is his belly. His whole belly is yellow. So why don't we just color in his belly, all yellow. That's the inside part there. This is a big drawing today, my friends. I hope you're up for the challenge. And now if you're using coloring pencils, make sure you turn your pencil once in a while, okay? That way it doesn't wear down all on one side. I'm being careful not to get the yellow into his hands or onto the other part of his body. I just want his belly to be yellow. And I'm not pressing down hard at all because, like I said before, when we did the scales on his head, we add layers. That's why we don't press down. You don't need to press hard to get a really nice color. Don't forget to turn your pencil. I'm going to be careful here not to get any outside of the line. But if you do, it's no big deal. We're just trying to have fun today. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in a second layer of yellow onto his body, just to make that yellow more vibrant. And I'm really not pressing down hard at all. I don't have to. You see the difference between 1 and 2 layers? I think layering is a very, very great thing to do when you're coloring. And that applies to painting too. We add layers when we're painting. When we're painting with watercolor mostly, we add layers to get the nice colors that we want. And for other reasons, but you know, let's just keep it at that for today. I'm not going to give you a watercolor lesson today while we're drawing. Now don't forget to turn your pencil. And we'll get that belly all colored in yellow. That looks great. Now all the scales here and the tip of his tail are yellow as well. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to go in and put in a second layer, coloring it in a second time. All right, there we go. It's looking good. Nice, vibrant yellow. There we go. Now we're going to use the green color, the light green color. Everything else is green except for his eyes, okay? So why don't we just color in the whole dragon? I'm going to do it all one layer first. Then I'm going to come back and do a second layer on the entire dragon. I'm being careful not to get any green into his eyes. Or into the yellow areas, okay? And don't forget to turn your pencil once in a while so you don't wear it all down on one side. And if you get green into the nostrils, that's okay because they're going to be black. We're going to color those in black so it'll cover the green. This dragon looks very friendly. If you read stories, sometimes the dragons aren't very friendly, are they? Usually they're breathing fire and they're trying to keep people away from them and keep them away from their treasures. And I can't help but think of The Lord of the Rings, or no, The Hobbit with the dragon in it. I think his name was Smaug, and he was guarding his gold. Actually, it was the dwarf's gold. It wasn't his gold. He kicked the dwarves out and he stole their home and all their gold. And the dwarves were trying to get their home and their gold back in The Hobbit. I read that book when I was a kid, and it was so cool to see the movies come out after. Have you seen those movies? They're a lot of fun. But Smaug is definitely not a smiley dragon like this guy is. Are you remembering to turn your pencil? Now we're using a lot of green today. So if you need to stop the video to go and sharpen your pencil, that's okay. I might have to do that too. I'm going to see. There we go. Now I'm being careful not to get any green into the yellow. So when I start doing his hands, I'm going to pay more attention. Don't forget to turn your pencil. I'm here to remind you of that. But when you're drawing on your own, I want you to remember to do that. But I forget sometimes too. You know, when you're coloring and coloring, you're like, oh yeah, coloring, coloring. Oops, forgot to turn. All right, we're almost done with the first layer. Or I'm almost done with the first layer. I think I'll be okay. I don't think I have to sharpen my pencil because I'm not pressing down very hard. There's my first layer. Now I'm going to go ahead and start coloring in my second layer. And I'm going to see how that looks after. I think it's going to look fabulous. Okay, let me be careful not to get any green into the yellow or into his eyes. You see the difference between 2 layers and 1 layer? I think it's pretty obvious why we do layers, right? It looks so much nicer. And I'm really not pressing down hard at all. You don't have to when you're doing layers. And if you wanted to, you could do 3 layers. If you wanted it to be even more vibrant, just do as many layers as you feel that you want to get the color you're looking for. Okay, I'm going to continue adding my second layer to every other part where I had a first layer of green. And I mention always you don't have to press down hard at all. And there are a few reasons for that. Well, the first reason is you don't want to break your pencil, right? We don't want to break the tips of our pencils because that means we have to go back and sharpen and they wear down quicker. And then we have to buy more. We don't want to buy. Everything is expensive these days. We want to keep our art supplies for as long as we can. So that's the first reason why we don't press down hard. The second reason is because we don't have to. To get the color we want, we just add layers, right? The third reason is because we don't want to wear out our hands. If our hands are tired from pressing down hard like that, we're not going to want to finish our drawing because it's going to be too hard if our hands are sore. And another reason why we don't press down too hard is because if you press down too hard with your pencil, these pencils are usually made of wax. And if you touch it, you can kind of feel a waxy coating on there. And if you press down too hard, you may not see it, but you could kind of damage your paper. And then if your paper is damaged, it doesn't matter how many layers you put on, you won't be able to get the color you want. So that's an important reason too. Because you're basically building up a layer of wax on your paper when you're putting in layers. And if you press down too hard, you add too much wax, the paper could get ripped a little, and that's it for your drawing. So if you remember to always turn your pencil, don't press down too hard, and take your time, you'll always have a nice result. You know what? I'm going to stop right now and I have to sharpen my pencil. There we go. Look at how sharp that is. Another reason why I should be careful now to turn my pencil and not press down too hard. Because this tip is so sharp, it could easily break. I find that when I'm doing second layers, if I have a really sharp pencil, they break easier for some reason doing the second layer. Not sure why that is, but that's what happens to me sometimes. Even if I'm pressing lightly, the tip will break. So I'm being extra careful to turn my pencil and not press down too hard. Are you having fun, my friends? Are you enjoying this drawing? I'm enjoying it. Like I said before, the only other time I've drawn a dragon was for my other YouTube channel, Rain Francis Art. And I can show you a picture of that, my dragon. I did that with, it's just black and white, just with pencils, and I think I used ink too. You can always follow along with that one, but you have to ask Mom and Dad if that's okay, because that's not a kids channel. That's just a regular art channel. And I think that that video is time-lapsed. That means that I don't talk during it. It goes a little quicker. It's in fast motion. And there's music behind it. But it basically shows you what to do to draw a realistic-looking dragon. And for you kids at heart out there, like me, you adults out there, Feel free to check it out, Rain Francis Art. I try to make all my videos good for beginners, you know. I provide stencils and I try to show you easy ways of doing things because I don't think art should be complicated. All right, I'm almost finished my second layer. I think my dragon's looking pretty cute. Now let's see, do I need a third layer? Maybe a little bit, just to fill in a few areas where I think the page is showing through a little too much. But that's just me being picky. You can do how many layers you want. Just be careful not to get any of the green into the yellow or into his eyes, okay? There we go. I think I'm done with that. Now what we can do is we can add our details. I'm going to take my black fine tip marker. You can use it, like I said, a black coloring pencil if you like. But I am going to actually, yes I am going to outline everything. I am going to outline the whole thing. Maybe add some details like that. I am obsessed with outlining. I love to outline. I just think it looks really nice. So everything that I drew with pencil, I'm outlining with marker. And like I said, that's your choice. You do what you want. This is just me being picky and, like I said, obsessed. Obsessed means that you have to do it. Oh, I have to do it. I'm so obsessed by this. I have to do this. Okay. While I'm here, I'm going to fill in his pupils with black. There's one. And there's another. And I'm going to color in his nostrils black too. You see what I mean? We got green in there, but that's okay because we're coloring in his nostrils black. I think that if you have a black marker, it'll look really nice if you outline it. But like I said, if you don't, you can try using a coloring pencil, a black coloring pencil. Oops, I got outside the line there a little bit. That's all right. There. Now I'm going to concentrate here. Not going to talk. Whew, okay. I was actually holding my breath while I was doing that. I have a bad habit of doing that. Do you do that too? Do you hold your breath when you're drawing? You're trying to concentrate. You hold your breath. I think a lot of people do that. There we go. I think this is looking really, really cool. Oh, I went outside the line a little. Oh, that's all right. And I only gave him 2 toes there, or 2 fingers. Maybe I'll give him a third one like that, or 4. I don't know. I'll make it look. There. I fixed it. Okay, now I'm going to do his tail. And his scales. And now his leg. There we go. He's all outlined. Now what I'm going to do is add some detail. Now let's start with adding the scales on his belly. And we're just doing lines across like this. Try not to get any in his hands. There we go. And I'm just going to give him some toes, maybe 1, 2, 3 lines there on each side. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. And let's give him some eyebrows. And we'll give him some cheeks. And if you want to give the illusion of cheeks, you do semicircles at the edge of each side of the mouth. Now, one thing I'm going to do is take my dark green, and I'm just going to do a little shading. This is optional, you don't have to do this. I'm just applying a layer of dark green, kind of at the tips of his wings here, just to make it look a little interesting. Very light layer of dark green here. There. And I'm going to very lightly put some dark green here so it blends a little better. And it's really, really lightly. I'm hardly touching the paper here. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on his knees, around here, down the side of his leg. Just a little shading to make it look different. And again, really lightly all around there. Now, do I want to shade anywhere else? Maybe the top of his tail here. Just a little line of dark green. Just like that. And my dragon is done. Now, don't forget to sign your work, my friends. I want you to be really, really proud of the beautiful work of art that you just created. I hope you enjoyed drawing your dragon. Like I said, this was a first for me, and I really enjoyed it. So we'll see you next time on Monsters and Legends. Thanks for being here, my friends. Bye.